This tutorial should enable you to connect multiple Airlinks to a single iPad. Whether you're going to be using the same type of sensors, such as carbon dioxide sensors, and maybe measuring the different amounts of CO2 produced over time or amount of different organisms, or whether you're going to use two different types of sensors, such as dissolved oxygen and temperature sensors, the setup is pretty much the same. You're going to go back to your settings to make sure that all the Airlinks are connected to the iPad that will be used to gather the data. What you're going to notice, though, is that the sensors, for example, for the carbon dioxide one, it's really kind of hard to tell. You don't know which Airlink is connected to which sensor. So you might have to do some trial and error type of experimentation there. Compared to the other one, for example, you could see visually that the temperature sensor is set up to which Airlink. So that's not as challenging as the one in which you're going to be using the same types of sensors. So let's go ahead and look at the CO2 sensor. What you want to do is, once you get everything set up, you want to make sure you go ahead and build the actual lab. When you get to that build, you're going to get the background image. And because we're going to show you how to set up both the line graph as well as data table, select the template that has two types of blanks to it. In that case, you'll be able to show then that on one side you can show the line graph and the other side the data table. Each of these icons will have some different form of data. You can go ahead and explore them on your own. In this case, we're going to take the template on the left to show you that of a line graph. As in before, you want to select the measurement in terms of the y-axis. The x-axis is already going to be set at time. So what you then need to do is select the measurement, touch that, make sure it's highlighted, select the CO2 concentration. It will automatically by default go to parts per million. Once you have that, press add an axis. Now you need to add the second y-axis. And you'll notice here that we went ahead and said, okay, our second y-axis, we're going to use the second sensor, and it too is going to collect carbon dioxide gas. It too will also have the default unit of parts per million. Now we need to set up our third axis, and so subsequently we press the measurement again, and this time we touch on the third sensor. So we should have all of our axes now ready to go. Make sure that you press OK. Now, how to set up the data table. On the right, you want to go ahead and touch the column that looks like a spreadsheet icon. And in that case there, what you're going to notice is this particular period right down in here. This can be expanded, okay? So you want to make sure you touch on that to expand. Once it expands, you're going to then have this choice here to insert a column. So go ahead and touch on Insert Column. And in that process, you're going to notice that now you have three columns, each collecting the same data, each collecting data for the graph that it's coordinated to. Once you have that done, make sure you want to tell the data collector or the sensor how often you want to collect the data and in what unit. By default, it's going to measure sample rate 1 per hertz. So however, I want every 5 seconds I want a sample taken, so subsequently I went ahead and I said 5 and I want seconds. That's my data collection option. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to get ready to run my experiment. Before you run the experiment, it should look something like this. You have 0 time has elapsed. You have all 3 data columns ready. You have all 3 graphs ready. When you are set up, make sure you press the green arrow. The green arrow will then collect data for however long that you have programmed it to, or to infinity if you have an iPad that is continually charged in as long as Airlinks. And then once you stop the collection, go ahead and press the green arrow again. That will cease all of the data. Then if you want to now save what you have collected, go up to the upper right hand and you'll see that triangular icon. And that will be an indicator that once you press that, it gives you the option to share and save the actual file. I'm just going to show you right now how to save file. And once you do that, it will give you a choice. Do you want to make a new folder, or do you want to go ahead and put this experiment into an existing folder? I'm going to go ahead and press dissolved oxygen and put this particular experiment into an existing folder. And what I now know is that I now need to rename. And just like any type of iOS device, just simply backspace, delete, and rename what you want to call this experiment. And then once you have that done, press OK, and you should have your lab within the iPad, within the SparkView app, saved. There's different ways that you could explore with respect to how to share and how to upload to the cloud. And we could get to that later, or you could simply ask a question. Okay, but right now you are now ready to run an experiment using more than one Airlink synced to the iPad.